What's up, guys? In this video we're going to talk about the scary news. The scary coronavirus news. 40,000 new cases in the United States popped up yesterday or today, June 27th, 2020. And in this video I'm going to tell you why that's not a big deal, why the media is blowing it out of proportion, and why life really should just go on as normal. We should stop this lockdown, and we should just stop making a big deal about this, okay? Number one, why have the cases gone up, right? But first of all, right, the media is specifically reporting on new cases because those are the headlines that scare people the most, right? Those are the quote-unquote true headlines. Well, I guess they are actually technically true. Those are the true headlines where nobody can actually call them out and say, no, you're actually lying about this, you made up the numbers, that scare people the most, as opposed to the amount of people that are dying from it, or the fact that young people are dying from it in droves, or the fact that like otherwise healthy people are dying, en masse from the coronavirus, which is not true. Those things are not happening. The mean or median, the most common like range of people who die from the coronavirus is in their 80s, and they all have health complications. These are all people who are sadly very unhealthy anyway, and probably would have died from a common cold or the flu or something similar to the coronavirus. But the media can't really like focus on that because that doesn't stir up a lot of fear. But when you see headlines like record-breaking new coronavirus cases in the United States, 40,000 overnight, as governors across the country roll back phase 2, whatever it's called, unlockdown-ness or whatever. Anyway, those headlines are scary, and people who are not intelligent, sorry, if you believe this whole coronavirus thing is like as bad as the media says it is, you're actually stupid. Sorry, you actually are stupid. You're not intelligent. You're ignorant, and you don't actually read any further than the headlines. You read the headline, you're like, oh my God, 40,000 new cases? That sounds really bad. And then you go to your friend or your family member or your fucking dog or something, and you're like, oh my God, did you hear about the 40,000 new cases of the coronavirus? Gee, that sounds really bad. I guess we'll all stay home and keep getting our fucking government welfare, $600 a week, while we wait this out. I wonder whose fault it could be. Maybe it's Trump's fault. Anyway, it's a complete joke. The media is focusing on the new cases. And by the way, there are so many new cases because now testing is more robust. Not robust in terms of the effectiveness of the test, although that I would assume is true over time, probably get more effective. But because more places are popping up that offer testing. Is this like escaping people, right? It's very likely that before there were a lot of people who had the coronavirus that didn't get tested because they got over it in a fucking week, and that was it. It was a cold. You know how many people I've talked to about COVID-19 or the coronavirus, and either I or they say like, I'm pretty sure I had that shit back in January, back in February, or whatever. A lot of people. But meanwhile, how many people do you actually know who died from the coronavirus? Oh, well, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who like was in the hospital around that time. Oh, okay, great, good for you. How many people do you actually know that died from it? Like you, actually, how many do you know? Oh, well, my, grandma, she's 87 years old, she died from it. Okay, well, sucks for your grandma. Really, actually does. But let's be honest here, like, is it worth shutting down the entire world every single time a bug goes around, which will happen indefinitely? Now, all of that said, honestly, personally, I'm not really affected by this anymore. So like, I don't actually care. I feel bad for everybody else, honestly. Everybody's getting their $600 a week. They're fine with that. What are they spending their money on? They're not investing it in anything like reasonable, like courses or like information products or something like that, like something to actually improve their lives. They're going to the mall and they're fucking spending it on dumb shit, on fucking shoes and clothes and shirts and expendable goods that are going to go down in value. So that's good for me. I don't really care. And anybody who's resourceful can make money in this period anyway. Anyway. The coronavirus is bullshit. I'm not saying it's not real. It's, I guess, like actually real. But the ramifications, like how dangerous it actually is completely blown out of proportion. Nobody has the balls to stand up and say, oops, actually, guys, we overreacted. It's really not that bad. Because now it's been going on, this whole lockdown thing has been going on for like 3 months. And people don't want to backtrack and be like, oh, actually, sorry, we overreacted. It's really not that big of a deal based on what we see. Because all they do is read the stupid media headlines and they're like, oh my God, look at this headline. It's so bad. they don't actually read the article because that would take effort and that would take work, and their brains are so fucking smooth from going on Twitter all the time. They've lost the ability to actually use any sort of critical thinking and like read an article and understand it and think for themselves. Sorry, it sucks. But, you know, I guess now that I think about it, what you have to do is you just have to adjust to the world the way it is now. Originally, what I thought was that, you know, I made quite a few videos about this in the past, and I kind of hated myself a little bit every time I made one. But the reason that I justified it, I guess kind of the same reason I'm justifying this right now, is because I was like, well, somebody's got to say something. You know, I can't, the cacophony of like the media, you know, headlines like fucking diarrheaing in people's brains is so loud. Yet if you look on social media, there are some people here and there who say it's bullshit and point out the statistics and the media manipulation and all this nuanced information that stupid people don't pay attention to. I was like, why not? Why shouldn't I do that also? Like, this is true for me. You know, I believe it. I believe that it's actually true as well. But, you know, now I'm starting to think otherwise, right? Now I'm starting to think, well, why don't you just adjust to the world the way it is? Because one person I don't really think can make a difference. Although that's probably defeatist, because look how many fucking, you know, if a couple media stations, which is not made up of a lot of people per se, can affect such a massive change on the world, you know, from fucking nonstop like barfing out their message, which is technically not untrue. Like I'm sure that on paper there are 40,000 new cases of coronavirus, but fucking so what? Who cares? Like, actually, who cares? The death rate is under, I think, 0.1%, which is the same as the flu. And the people who are dying, like I said, are in their 80s and they're sick anyway. So who the fuck cares if there's 40,000 new cases? Do you know how many cases of the common cold there are? Do you know how many cases of the flu there are? No, but because we track this shit, all of a sudden it's a big fucking deal. Also, this whole thing about, oh, there's 120,000 deaths because of COVID. No, there aren't, okay? There are 120,000 people who died and had COVID at the same time that they died. Now, of those people, like I said many times, and you can look this up if you want, most of those people are in their 80s and they had health complications, okay? So that's number one. Number two, hospitals get paid a lot of money anytime somebody is reported as having died with COVID-19. Not because of COVID-19, but with COVID-19. So, I mean, it's a little, you have to question their motives for doing that. Are they like 100% altruistic, all of these like for-profit hospitals? Probably not, just gonna say. But because of the media, because of social media, because of how dumb people are and how little thought they actually put into anything, this is just this is the world we live in today. So, bottom line, all these new cases of coronavirus are not a big deal, but unfortunately, because the media is making it sound like a big deal, and the politicians who are in power, even the ones in states that have like balls, like fucking Texas and Nevada, I guess, it looks like they are rolling back, or at least freezing the phase 2, like lockdown, whatever it's called, because they don't want to take the chance, right? Even though if you look at it, like, there is no chance, like, it's a complete joke and anybody with half a brain can see that. They don't want to take the chance because, oh my God, if something happens, at least they were on the safe side, which is exactly the same thing. It's the same line of reasoning that all these corporations, all the businesses, basically everybody who's got a lot to lose, Starbucks, shopping malls, hotels, casinos, any business that's basically not a small business that is thinking, because small business owners, they think of themselves first, right? They think of themselves and their business, and they analyze the situation, and they're like, okay, I need to make money. This is my livelihood. What are the odds that I'm dooming civilization by doing this? If I doom civilization, is that really, like, am I really going to be responsible for that? If it was a fucking plague, right? If this was the Black Plague, if this was the bubonic plague, and you would see people like dying in the street and, throwing up blood and shit like that, this is like the Walking Dead zombie apocalypse, I'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe a good idea to not go to the mall and not like go to the bar and fucking socialize and have 100,000 person protest. Probably not the best time for that. But do you see anybody with like any sort of negative health symptoms? Do you see any of them anywhere? Do you? Anybody? I never see anybody who's even coughing, ever. Oh, but they're all in the hospital. No, they're not. What, do you think they like cough once and they immediately go to the hospital before it gets worse? Come on, man, give me a break. Like, use your brain, people. Just try using your brain a little bit. Stop believing everything the fucking media tells you. Stop believing your paranoid aunt or fucking mom or sister. Notice these are all women, but like there's plenty of dumb guys too, I gotta tell you. Anyway, that's it. It's not a big deal. Stop crying like a little bitch. Go to the gym, exercise, eat healthy food, and your immune system will be boosted anyway. And in the meantime, try and adjust to this new shit world that we have. Cool? Peace.